Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the Saints Network podcast, which we were hoping this season would be your dose of... I don't know how... I honestly, at this point, don't know how much longer I can do this. At this point, I was expecting us to be back on some level of upward trajectory, right? And I wouldn't say walk in the league necessarily, but even after the last show... and the last performance, where we said to everybody, still some positives to take away.
Lots of positives.
I thought we would be on an upward trajectory.
Yeah.
I can honestly confess right now to all of you that are watching live, watching on demand, or listening on the podcast, that mood, that attitude has changed significantly after the course of the last week and the last two football matches. As we know from the last stream, Saints took on Bristol City away on Tuesday and then travelled up to Blackburn, who were second from bottom, yesterday, and I know Sheffield Wednesday were rock bottom because they've taken a 12-point deduction. What was shocking when we went to Blackburn was we weren't all that far off them in league position. So we say we went to second from bottom Blackburn, but we weren't too far off ourselves. What we've witnessed over the course of this season so far, chat, we have been slightly less PG. This is going to be one of those episodes, I'll be honest. I am utterly enraged as a Saints fan at the moment. I am utterly sick of the excuses. I am fed up of what I'm hearing from everybody in the press, players, managers, coaching staff alike. I've had enough. And I don't know where we place the blame. We're going to try and touch on some of that during this show. But what we've witnessed, I think, is utterly disgusting as a club. And yet again, we've had people coming out. We've had people like Mads Royslev in the press over the course of the last few days saying, we've got to step up. You're 12 fucking games in. You should have started stepping up already. Some of you would get paid over 70 fucking grand a week. Did you know Ryan Fraser is one of our highest paid players?
Yes.
And he started the season quite strong, but he's gone back to being a bag of wank.
Do you know who is our highest paid player?
Joe Aribo?
Yep.
At 75,000 a week.
Yep.
He probably would have been really useful yesterday.
More on that later.
So we try actually on the whole to be positive around the football club in general, and I don't like to rant for the sake of ranting, and I don't like to be negative for the sake of being negative. And if you know my other channels and the stuff that I do, I'm a firm believer in not just being negative for the sake of clicks and social media engagement. I don't like that. I don't think that's worth it. However, this is one of those genuinely negative moments. So like I said, away to Bristol City on Tuesday, and away to Blackburn yesterday. We're going to cover those. We're going to cover the first game very, very briefly. We'll cover the second game in more detail for two reasons. One, the first game was Tuesday, and secondly, I didn't watch it.
I did.
Yeah, but I was going to watch it. I was working that night. I was going to watch it on catch-up, and when I saw the result, I was like, I don't want to watch that, quite frankly, despite the fact I probably should do for this show. And then I watched yesterday live. You didn't, but you've now caught up on it. Before we get into it, chat, if you haven't already and you're watching on demand, please make sure you smash those magical YouTube buttons for us. Hopefully, so that sometime in the near future, we can share some positive moments from this football club. There might have to be some significant changes before that can happen, though. We'll talk about that as we go through the show. So, starting up against Bristol. Do you want to take us through a very, very quick summary? Let's not go through all these points, but a quick summary of Bristol City. So we went away to Bristol City. Now, Ash and I both said the week before, or the Sunday before, a slightly tougher fixture, right?
Yes.
So Bristol City, a better side than what we perhaps have been looking to face or had faced so far.
Yes. What, do you want me to run through it? Just run through it.
So we went to Bristol City. There was a change in the lineup.
We had Ryan Fraser come in for Alert, who was obviously injured in the game against Swansea. We started positive. We had a couple of half chances. There was a specific chance where Adam Armstrong got through in. If he'd have squared it to Cameron Archer, I would say Cameron Archer would have had an easy tap in, but this is Cameron Archer we're talking about, so probably would have put it at the post or put it over. And for the first sort of 25, 30 minutes, we looked brilliant, solid. Shay Charles then picks the ball up in the middle of the park, plays a beautiful ball through for Adam Armstrong. He runs through, lovely chip over the keeper. After what we had on the Saturday beforehand against Swansea, we were missing chance after chance after chance. We think, cracking, we've broken our duck, absolutely fine. However, because our team has the mental stability of an outpatient from Arkham Asylum, within 3 minutes, Bristol City were back level. All the blame will go to Nathan Wood. I don't know if you've seen the goals.
I have.
All the blame will go for Nathan Wood. When the ball goes over, he slices it. It plays for Metty through. Metty runs through, puts the pass through. What people don't see is Ryan Fraser, who was by far, in my opinion, the worst player on the pitch on Tuesday night. The Southampton team were playing in Bristol and he was playing in Swindon because he was sat that deep. He was playing
Yeah,
onside.
he played him so far onside. But this is to give Ryan some credit here. He's not a right back.
No, and we'll get onto that in a minute. So we've done, obviously, Bristol City kind of took charge there. And Cameron Archer had a chance where he was 3-1-1. He hit the keeper in the face. And then the second half started, and
which he should have buried, right? As a striker, he should bury that.
Yeah, and there was just stupid stuff, and this is where it starts to get confusing. So we were told, watching live, that Tom Fellows had been taken ill at half time, and therefore wasn't going to play any part. Okay, fine, not an issue. We then start better in the second half. Cienza hits the bar because Cienza was doing Cienza things. Che Charles had a header which he should have done better with, which he blasted over. Then Bristol City brought on Sinclair Armstrong, who's been dog rubbish all season, so naturally he's going to look great against us. And they start being so much better. He's strength and presence up front. He starts bullying people. We don't necessarily look too bad. They score an absolute, I would say, fluke goal, but it's a shot. It takes a deflection off Sinclair Armstrong, hits the post. It goes under McCarthy. Everyone stood there staring at it.
He does seem to be a bit slow to react to that.
We'll get on to him.
Maybe because he's 97 years old.
Probably. But it's one of those things that Will still on Saturday, I think I've run over a cat because of our luck, especially with the Casper Yander miss. And at that moment, I sat there and I thought to myself, crikey, no luck is going to go our way. And then I honestly thought we were going to change things. So we went 3-1 down, and that was just Casper Yander, who's not really put a foot wrong, apart from missing from 2 yards against Swansea. He shorted Nathan Wood for a pass, and we're playing on the halfway line. So Scott Twine's run through, and Scott Twine's he's a clinical player. He's gone through, Chip McCarthy again, 3-1. Okay, fine, not a problem. Then we make changes too late in the game, and I have an issue with his starting lineup, but I'm not going to get into that now because they said it was Tuesday. He makes changes. The first change that's made, Tom Fellows comes on. We were told he was sick. So Tom Fellows comes on. Robinson comes on. Manning comes on. And we're 3-1 down away from home. And we're still playing 5 at the back. We're still playing 5 at the back. Now, I've had this argument with a few people when they turned around and said, oh, no, we're not playing 5 at the back. We're playing 3 at the back and we're playing wing backs. It's 5 at the back.
A wing back is a back.
It's 5 at the back. We're playing 3 centre backs on the field. And guess what we did for the last however many minutes?
Pass it on the back.
Passed it along the back. Then
Who knew? That's definitely going to get us a goal.
Then he made another change. He took off Casper Yander. And then brought on Damien Downs. Because obviously he's going to save the game. And so we're playing Che Charles in the middle on his own with a back 5.
Yeah.
And obviously, and then we did absolutely nothing. We did nothing. And Will still came out afterwards. And I've been a football fan for all my life, just like you have. And you get those moments in a game where you turn up against Swansea, it doesn't go your way. Sometimes, like against Bristol City, you can turn up. They played really well for a bit. They got outplayed. They lost 3-1. A few mistakes, not the end of the world. Will still said, we can't keep making new mistakes. It was easy for them to win the game. He said something stupid. We have to climb a mountain to score a goal, but they don't have to do it. And you think to yourself, all right, yeah, fine, no problem.
Right.
We've lost one. We've lost one. We need a reaction on Saturday.
No. I have take umbrage with that quote, though. And this is where I'm starting. So I have been a Will Still advocate because of the way he talked, the way he came in. I did some research pre his appointment because we've run the show, looked at what he'd done abroad. I was like, actually, I like the cut of this guy's jib. I like the way he talks. Yep. I like the way he talks about football. I like the way he talks about transition. I like the style of football he says that he wants to play. I also like his honesty in the press for the most part. But I'm getting a little bit tired of Will in the press now. And this sounds like I'm being a bit extreme 12 games in. But I'm starting to feel a bit of the Russell Martins. I'm starting to feel a bit of here's the same press conference I do every week to shut everybody up. I'm bored of hearing about bad luck. You make your own luck. It's not bad luck. When you make 21 chances versus Swansea and you don't score, that's not bad luck. That's incompetence at player level. It's not bad luck. It's got nothing to do with luck. It's incompetence at player level, right? When he talks about how the opposition, we have to climb a mountain to score a goal, the opposition just seem to walk it in the net. It's because you let them. Like, I watched those 3 goals. It's not unlucky. We gifted them 3 fucking goals for pathetic mistakes from professional footballers who played tens of thousands of pounds a week. You'd be pissed off if you watched that mistake in League 2. and we're doing it in the Championship. So I'm getting to a point where my sympathy now, the string I'm prepared to give him is very short. My sympathy is running out. And I'm really, like I said to you at the start of the show, I'm really bored of hearing all these phrases. We need to step up. We need to take responsibility. Fucking do it then. Because no one is. Because no one is taking responsibility. Those three goals that they scored, pathetic errors. Cam Archer missing that one-on-one, he should have buried that fucking goal. There shouldn't be an excuse.
So, as always, and I'm going to try and box off Bristol City quite quickly because obviously we've gone on to Blackburn. The stats speak for themselves. We had more shots than Bristol City, more shots on target. Scott Twine said in his interview straight away after the game, because he received the man of the match, he said, we struggled in the first 25 minutes, and then once we worked out what they struggle against, we changed our tactics, and it was quite easy.
Right.
Quite easy. So what they did was they sat deep, and they realised we couldn't break them down.
Right, so we'll touch on this in more detail after the next game, because then I was pissed off post-Bristol. I wanted to sit on Wednesday and watch that game so that I could give you a better description of my breakdown of that game today. I didn't watch it. I was so angry. Then we go away to Blackburn Rovers. Now, I'll confess, Ash had pushed me for probably a fortnight for getting tickets to go up, right? Because there were tickets were still available. And I really considered it. I really strongly considered trying to make a day of it. But we are talking from here, for a Southampton fan, with a stop, you're talking 5.5 hour journey up, watch the game 5.5 hour journey down. And this is where I will openly and honestly confess, right? I also thought, well, at least we'll get to go away and get a fucking win under our belt. This might start the positive. This might start the upward trajectory. This might start us getting rid of this black cat that apparently keeps plaguing us. So not only do I want to go and watch football, but we also might get a win on this one. And I'm not a sort of player I'm not the sort of person who only goes and watches teams win. I went away to Man United, Liverpool, and Chelsea last year. So I'm not just going to go and watch Saints when I think they win. But I did think to myself, well, it's Blackburn. They've been shocking. They haven't got a win at home yet. Surely we shouldn't be fucking this one up, right? So I strongly considered it to the point where on Thursday morning I was still thinking they had an option to buy tickets and pick up at Ewood Park, and I was going to surprise. And anyway, because of what my other job that I've got, because this doesn't pay our wages right.
Not yet.
Not please gift and super chat. And so I ended up having to be here actually in my building at 9 o'clock on Saturday morning, and I was working till 2:30. I then drove home and watched the game at home. So we didn't go. And now, genuinely, I'm glad.
I was rough as anything yesterday morning, so it's a good thing we didn't go.
So we go to Blackburn, right? And there's a gap here. We go to Blackburn. The lineup. Ash sent me through the lineup, and I was like, what on earth is he playing at? But then I get a bit more context. We've got another plague of raw chicken fucking fever going through the camp, apparently. I've never known such a group of absolute fucking pansies in all my life. And I've worked with the Navy. It's unbelievable. Like they're all, I'm a bit sick, I'm a bit poorly, there's a bug in the camp. Jesus Christ.
I have never known a football team be hit with so much illness as what we have this year.
What the fuck? Sack the fucking catering team at this rate. What's going on? Or is it sickness? Or are players going, I don't want to be involved in this. I'm a bit poorly. Like, what's happening? No one seems to have any bollocks, right? So the lineup, we get hit with illnesses and sicknesses, etc. Caspian is out. Tom Fellows can't be played. Flynn Downs apparently is eating more salmonella-based chicken.
We're also told that Jay Robinson apparently is injured.
Yeah,
it was going to be sick, not injured. Sorry.
So we're lacking central midfield options. We didn't, and Fellows had been supposedly poorly on Tuesday, and etc. And right at that point, we didn't travel with Aribo or Matsuki. We didn't even take them with us, just in case. We didn't take them with us. We left them at home. Genius. Brilliant. All the way up to Blackburn. It's not like it's half an hour up the road. It's not like it's Oxford. We didn't take them with us at all. So the midfield, then I look at that and I'm like, this looks weak. Now, I do want to see Azaz step up and play some good football. I've seen some clips of him in the past and he can play some beautiful passes. He actually played a great pass during this game. But we have him in midfield with Shea Charles. We have a back five again. When he went back to the back five after trying the back four, I was like, I don't want to be proved wrong here. I hate a back five. I now hate it more than I've ever hated a back five.
Just quickly, I'm going to jump in on that quickly about the back four. We went to the back four, we played against the Skates, and yes, okay, it was a crap game, but they didn't look threatening. We didn't concede many chances. We then went to Hull, where we conceded 3 stupid goals through individual error, not from the formation, and he sacked it off again.
Yeah,
and now we're still conceding the same amount of goals anyway.
So we went back to back 5. Mads Royceland comes back in the team. Okay, cool. At least we've got a right back. We've got Ryan Manning at left back. So we've got 2 right back and left back. We have no need to play the 5, right?
Yeah.
We have no need to play a winger as a right back like Fellows. We can do it. He then, and I didn't think I'd ever say this, he drops Taylor Harbour-Bellis for Jordan Kwashi. I don't know about Bristol City because I didn't watch it, but I know against Swansea, I thought Taylor had a decent game.
He wasn't bad against Bristol City either.
I thought he had so at that point, you've got a senior pro who was involved heavily in the promotion season, has done this before, who has had an England cap, and granted, he had a shit start to the season. He then gets a chance, he plays a couple of good games, and gets dropped. What the fuck sort of management is that? I don't get it. And then he puts Cam Archer back up front. He's got Armstrong on the wing, because granted, that's where he looks better. And we've got Leo Cienza. Currently, for me, the only positive coming out of that football club is little Leo Cienza, right? That's the lineup. So I looked at it and I was like, I don't like this. I don't see where our bite in the centre of the park comes from. I don't see where we're winning battles away at home at Ewood Park. I don't see it. I'm not sure. Lo and behold, I was right. So we also have in the Blackburn game, for some reason, started dicking around with the ball at the back again from like goal kicks and stuff. Why? Why have we started putting ourselves in trouble again? What? How have we reverted to that? I don't. Anyway, I think for the most part, for the first 20, 25 minutes, we probably had the better chances. We probably had the more threatening chances. 23, 24 minutes in, Leo Cienza goes through and scores a beautiful goal, right? A beautiful goal. He gets a lucky deflection, I think from a Manning ball. It's a lucky deflection. It pings in front of him. He breaks away. He's one-on-one with the keeper. And there's a number of one-on-ones in this game, chat, right? We'll talk about a lot of them. Leo Cienza is the only one that I could talk about in a positive light. He looks like he's about to take a shot, rolls the ball over his foot. Keeper reacts, and he just dinks it in the top corner. Beautiful finish. What a goal that was.
Brilliant goal.
Right? Good incredibly finish, yeah. Good, right? And then I think that's where the positives probably stop.
I've watched it back. I didn't watch it live like you did. I thought that there was a moment that we had... It was in the first few minutes of the game where the ball gets squared across the box. Cameron Archer goes to get his foot to it. I think it comes off the back of his foot. He falls into the net, and the away fans start celebrating because they think we scored. But then from then, even until we scored, I didn't think we were that good. I thought Blackburn had the better of the play, and I mean, we'll go on to the stats later. But apart from the goal, my only comment that I will say about the first half is the amount of times that Cameron Archer wants to be caught offside.
Yeah, shocking.
He either wants to be, he's either offside, or when he's onside, he's got a touch of someone that should be locked up.
I also feel like we have a Matty Fernandez, Tyler Dibling type concern at the moment, having watched yesterday's game. And that is what I can see happening at the moment is the play being almost similar to the old Letitia days, right? Get the ball, give it to Matt. Get the ball, give it to Leo. Which means teams are going to go, he's the key. So we just mark him out the game and he can't do anything, right? And watching what's going on with Leo, there's a couple of times where you see defenders doubling up on him, and then he gets the ball in, and he's like, "Where the hell do I go with this?" And he can't. What I noticed throughout that first half is, and we've talked about this a lot, right? But there is an absolute lack of bite, passion, fight, determination, urgency,
aggression.
Everyone continuously gets caught, and the people keep getting caught in possession. You're watching players. Shay Charles has been a great player for us this season. There's a couple of occasions you see him pick up the ball, and I know we're watching on telly, and I know you get a different perspective on telly, but you go ball on, ball on, ball on. So he turns and gets robbed of it, and you're like, that you've just made a terrible decision there. There's 3 balls on for you. Yeah. You've decided to make a turn for some reason. You've lost possession. What's most frustrating is when we lose possession. We were promised a high press. We haven't got a low press. We haven't got a press. And if you look at their first goal, it proves no press at all.
Their first goal is embarrassing.
So we get into the second half. No changes at half-time, right? And I think our midfield lacked a bit of bite. And I personally think this is an absolute victim of circumstance. When you play 5 at the back, 4 across midfield, typically we've been playing 2 holding defenders and 2 wide men. We don't have anything in the middle. I keep shouting about it, and week in, week out, we still have no bite in the middle. We have no creativity in the middle, and that's the whole point that Azaz was brought in for, was to play that central attacking midfield role, right? So what we do is we put it out wide, and we're crossing it to fucking Cameron Archer.
Or Adam Armstrong.
I hate to say this. I want to punch a person for saying this, but it makes sense if we had tall Paul.
The chat have been talking about tall Paul.
But it would make sense. That football would make sense if he's the bloke you're targeting. You're like, well, he's probably going to win a lot of those balls. Not Cam Archer. They don't have a fucking French press. Exactly. Exactly. Right. However, we continued playing that shocking formation. Azaz, he just seems a bit lost in there.
I've got something to say on him later. We'll talk about it.
But I sympathise for him. It's not his position, ultimately. And I think that for the most part, Armour and Archer were kind of passengers. Now, that being said, we create another chance. Edwards lashes it in. It was disallowed, right? Offside.
Edwards only goal disallowed, yeah.
Was it offside? I don't know if it was offside. It was close.
It was very close, but the thing is we're not going to sit here and argue whether it was onside.
What we did see from Edwards was a better strike than any of our front line have put in for so far this season. Lashed it in from range.
Yep.
Right. And we had there was a back and forth of utter carnage here. It was a very open game. I don't know if I would consider it great for a neutral because it was just an absolute sea of mistakes from both sides. Importantly, Armstrong gets 2 1-on-1s, fucks them both.
Yep.
The first one with some weak little cheap, and I'm not going to blame him for it because it's how he scored against Bristol, right? So people go, what was that? And I'm like, well, he did it against Bristol and he scored and you all praised him. So he's tried it again and the keeper stopped it. Fair play, right? The second one, the keeper still has turned that onto the post. So strictly he's at the target twice because the keeper's made a save. But he hasn't put the ball in the net, importantly. Now, we all know that Armour needs 3 or 4 chances to score 1.
Yeah.
It's always been him. That's always been the case. And in the Championship, we typically create enough chances that he gets goals. He was found out in the Premier League because we cannot create that many chances against high-quality opposition, and you need someone who's significantly more clinical, right? They also, and it sounds like, it's sad for Saints, and I think this was part of the press conference afterwards because, you put a couple of those away, you're all right. No, they also had a couple of one-on-ones that their Japanese forward, I can't remember the guy's...
Morishita.
They should have put them away. Like, he was almost worse.
Yeah.
In his opportunities.
Oh, they had Morishita and the other guy. I know which other guy you're on. It's like a Hashi or something like that.
And then we move into the later part of the game, and as Saints fans, we're there going, we know what's happening. I think I saw you put it in maybe Discord.
I put it in Discord.
It was
yeah,
definitely something. I'm in the TSP WhatsApp chat. It was definitely going in there. People going, know what's going to happen. You look on Twitter, and what I don't understand at this point is how is it that every fucking Saints fan in the country can see what's going to happen, but somehow the ginger prick on the sideline can't. So then he goes, we're 1-0 up. It's on edge here. We need another goal. I know what we'll do. We'll take off Leo Cienza, who's been by far the best player on the pitch, let alone for Saints, and we'll put on Jack fucking Stevens in midfield. I'll go from 5 defenders on the pitch to 6.
For Shiggles.
What is he thinking?
No words.
This was what, for me, inspired the title of the show. It's sacrilege, this substitution. And I said it on social media yesterday, right? I said it on Twitter myself. That substitution alone, for me, is borderline a sackable offence.
But it's not the first time. He took him off against Swansea. He took him off against Bristol City.
Taking him off, if he's tired or fatigued, fine. I kind of get it. But at this point, you've got to think, and maybe I'm talking out of line here, but at this point, he's got to think, if I don't start getting results soon, my job is going to be in question, right? It's got to be. Now, I think that to some extent, Premier League or football managers in general nowadays don't really care if the job is in question. Cool, sack me. You'll pay me for the 3 years anyway. So I don't really care. I get to do nothing and get the same wage. Brilliant. Right? So I don't know if they panic about being sacked as much as I perhaps think they do. But he's got to have in his mind a little bit, especially after getting dicked 3-1 at Bristol City, my job could be in question here. So I take off my most attacking player. And there's a couple of reasons he suggested for this as well. One was Leo's played a lot of minutes, protect him from injury. One was we started to, we were losing it in the transition, so we needed some bite. If that's the case, why are you putting on Jack Stevens in central midfield? It is utterly dreadful. In fact, it is so bad that this is one of the first times where I think I felt that the fans were truly not on board anymore. And chance of, and you know you're in trouble when your fans chanting to the manager, you don't know what you're doing, at the point in which he takes off Leo Cienza and puts on Jack Stevens. And you think that's bad enough, but it doesn't get better. And I was sat in the TSP chat yesterday, and I talked about this, and I stopped and I thought about it, and I was like, actually, 12 games in now, tell me one game where you think that his in-game management has been decent and impactful, and I don't mean lucky against Wrexham.
I don't think there's anything that you can look at and go that he's made the right change at the right time. I don't think he's done anything at the moment, and I say at the moment because obviously, let's be honest, he's not going anywhere at the moment. We'll cover that. I don't think he's done anything that's really impacted. I think that the problem is as we've gone on through the times, we've had 2 games of crap, and then one where we've sat there and gone, oh, that's positive. Then 2 games of crap, and we've gone, oh, that's positive. But the positive is a 0-0 draw or a 1-1 draw. Or
I've been fighting for positives because I don't like to be negative, and I like to be positive, and I like to try and spin a good news story. And I think against Swansea, 21 shots on goal, however many of those were on target, quite a few. I can't remember the statistics specifically. Right, there's a positive there. Because on a different day, Caspiana's ball goes in the net. A couple more of those go in the bottom corner. Leo's bending ball goes in the bottom corner, and you get a win. And I can. Do you know what? I can buy the whole. We were a bit unlucky in that particular game. I can buy that. I don't like it because you're paying strikers to score goals. You're paying midfielders to create chances. So I think that at that point, if it's a one-off game, you argue bad luck. But what we're seeing at the moment is repeat offences. And his in-game management in games where we are drawing and should be winning or losing is utterly shocking. And he is consistently sticking to 5 at the back. Like, I watched Liverpool play Man United a couple of weeks ago. Right? I think I talked about this on the last show. Right? And when Liverpool were not winning at home to Anfield, they ended up in a formation that was something like 4-2-5 almost. Obviously, it can't be 4-2-5. I get that, but you get my point, right? But it was just everybody was up front. Get everybody up front, right? And the ball was coming forward, and you just see a line of red shirts.
But hold that thought, right? We did that against Wrexham. We kind of, to a degree, well, we didn't against Ipswich, we did it against Stoke. We did it against Watford. We did it against a few teams 4 or 5 games in. And now we seem to be spending all our time in the last few minutes pissing around and passing the ball at the back. And Matty's just made a point there. There's been some changes. So he obviously brought Jay Robinson on it at Sheffield United, and that kind of helped turn the game to a degree.
Did it?
But there's been more questions over substitutions than there has answers. Leo Cienza has been taken off in 4 games. And in the 4 games that he's been taken off, he's been our best player. And he's been taken off in all 4 games.
This weekend just gone is an anomaly. But for the most part as well, you would argue that our bench, on paper, I add that caveat specifically, on paper, our bench would walk into a lot of teams in the Championship. Not all, but a lot of teams in the Championship.
Yes.
So how is it that we're making substitutions and getting weaker each time? And I am also questioning, genuinely, the utterly pathetic mental resilience of this squad in general. Because, and I know we had a terrible Premier League season, suck it up and get over it. You were part of it, so get us fucking out of it.
Most of the players that were playing yesterday were not part of it. That's the thing.
But the mental resilience, it's still like, but so if your mental resilience is that bad, how are we solving that problem? What are we doing about it? Nothing is the answer. And I'm not getting, at this point, a level of inspiration from the head coach either. I don't feel like he's the sort of person who's going to get in the change room at half time, kick a bottle into someone's head, a la Beckham, and go, what on earth? What's he doing?
No, but this is the point. So he'd taken Cienza off, and the fans had started chanting, "You don't know what you're doing." I think there was also a rendition of you getting sacked in the morning.
There was.
Not straight away after he got sent off, because 5 minutes after he takes Cienza off, and we decide to start sitting on a 1-0 lead, which is always dangerous when you're Southampton Football Club, and we're playing 6 defenders, then I'm not even going to try and Alabuse, I don't even know his name, the guy that plays for Blackburn, number 2, gets the ball wide. He crosses it. He's not closed down. The ball goes all the way in. Alex McCarthy's beaten in the middle of his goal. Jordan Kwarshi's let it bounce through everyone.
This goal was an absolute comedy of errors. So Shea Charles hasn't closed him down for the first instance to let him get in a poor cross from there with his left boot. Jordan Kwashi should just put his body through that, and he can. I don't care what anyone says, he can at that point. He doesn't, he leaves it. I don't know why he leaves it. Maybe he thinks it's going straight down McCarthy's throat. And then McCarthy, who knew that having McCarthy in goal all season would be a problem?
He almost dives over it. I don't really understand. His positioning is awful, and I don't know what he's... And I try to be... we try to be positive. We don't want to be negative all the time.
I don't think we can after this week, though. I don't think we can after this week, Ash, in general.
That goal epitomises everything. And when it goes in, they'll just go, oh, all right. And they turn around and they walk back and they clearly don't give a shit.
But again, we sit in a world where we concede a goal. So what do we change to solve our problems? Literally nothing. Literally nothing we change. We then get to a point where they score another goal, right? I think this was after Shea Charles had pulled his hamstring.
Yep.
Right? So we then make a triple change. I was like, oh, triple sub change. We take off Ryan Manning and we put on Wellington.
Yeah.
So no change, really. Like for like, right?
Yep.
We take off Shea Charles and we bring on young Bragg, right? Who wasn't supposed to be involved. A lot of people go on, I can't believe they haven't got his kit number. He wasn't supposed to be involved, right? He was at Leicester with the under 21s and they basically taxied him up to get him involved. They didn't have a kit ready for him. Imagine if they had just travelled Aribo with them or Mitsuki. Imagine that. You wouldn't even need to call him away from the Leicester game. We also bought on
Jay Robinson
at that point.
So Jack Stevens dropped back into defence. Cameron Bragg sat in midfield alongside Finn Azaz, and Jay Robinson went up front.
I don't think Ronnie Edwards had a bad game. I don't think he
I thought Ronnie Edwards was really good yesterday.
Good's a strong word. So we make that triple change, and at that point I'm looking at it, I'm going, I don't see what's positive here. Honestly, I don't see where the bite's coming from. I don't dislike Jay Robinson. I don't think he's a person who's going to unlock a game at the moment. He hasn't shown me anything particularly that leads me to think he's going to be a game winner necessarily. Armour's up front at this point.
With Ryan Fraser.
What?
And we're whipping balls into the box. There is one moment in the game where I watched it, and obviously I've watched him back on demand, but Finn Azaz whips across into the box to Ryan Fraser and Adam Armstrong, and I just giggled. I thought this is exactly where we are as a football club at the moment.
But again, Finn Azaz, there's a ball that he plays Armour in one-on-one, right?
Oh, superb.
Which is a beautiful pass, which is what he wants to be playing as a 10. That's where he wants to be, and we're not giving him that role because we keep playing this fucking god-awful formation, which was not what we were promised when this twat came into the club.
We'll get on to... I've got some words around his lineup.
So then they score a second goal, and you could argue that Braggy's at fault for this. Kind of, he's a young lad thrown in last minute. I actually have some sympathy for him. Yeah. It's not the game you want to be bringing a player like that into at that point in the match, and it's just poor from us in our own box, and they score a goal. Surprise. Their striker who's not scored a goal yet this season or something. I can't remember the detail. But it's 2-1 Blackburn.
It's Isaac Johnson's nipper.
It's Isaac Johnson's nipper. And every single Saints fan's going, yep, that's not a surprise. Right? That's not a surprise. At that point, you've written here, already made 5 subs, can't bring a striker on. What will we bring on? Who's on the bench?
Damien Downs on the bench.
That must buy from Johan Spors. They'll definitely get him at all cost striker.
We'll get on to a minute. And Nick, I can't even remember how to pronounce his name. Nick Okanuli or Oyankuli.
So he has been doing quite well for the under 21s.
He has, yes.
I think he's broke the record for them, maybe, or he holds the record for them.
Oyakunli.
We don't bring that off, and then Wellington decides to make a challenge with his elbow in someone's head. When I've seen Wellington play, even last season when he came in against Ipswich, I was like, that player's got a red card in him.
Oh, 100%.
Without doubt. And it's like 80-something minutes or 90-something minutes, and he comes flying in like he's a ninja, elbow high in the head. It isn't the worst contact in the world, but the second you go in, like people have been complaining about that red card, you can't complain about it. If you leave with an high up elbow, you run the risk of getting sent off.
You could complain, but I just don't think it's worth mentioning right now. He got sent off. He did something stupid, and I've got it here. Obviously, he didn't bring on Damien Downs, didn't bring on Oyakunle, considering that they pulled that lad out as well. We'll talk about Preston because I think he needs to be in contention to start in the next game. Taylor Harwood-Bellis sits on the bench when we brought on Wellington and Jack. And
this goes back to what I was saying to you mid-game, right? Whilst we're reviewing that game, his in-game management so far looks like someone who plays Football Manager for a living. There doesn't seem to be any plan. And do you know what's getting me right? Now, I saw someone upstairs in the comments say, I can't remember. By the way, chat, just so you know, we do this for free, basically. We run this at a loss. If you want to support us, becoming a member is the best way to support us. Gifting memberships is also great. You can also super chat on YouTube your comments and questions. And at the end, we will read through every single one that comes through, I promise you. So don't think that if we don't get to it straight away, we won't read it out. We will. And if you have to go away, you can catch up with the podcast later because it stays live on YouTube. And then you can listen to our answer to it if you want to. There's no pressure to do that. We do this because we love it, but we also do it at a loss. But as I said earlier in the show, right, there's no in-game management there. What someone up in the comments said, would we take Russell Martin back? Now, I wouldn't. And the reason why, once he'd gone and we'd gone through the pain of Ivan Juric and Simon Rusk, I would have maybe contemplated bringing him back, possibly. When he went to Rangers and then you realise that he'd actually learnt nothing from his time here at Saints, then I wouldn't take him back because he hasn't learnt anything at all. What I will say is, in the Championship when we had Russell Martin, you could at least see what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
You could see a type of football. You could see an identity. He seemed to have the lads on side, right? They liked him as a boss. What's our current identity?
There isn't one.
What's our current style?
There isn't one, and this is the problem. And I know we haven't even finished off talking about Blackburn, but I want to go off on this now because it's been stuck in my mind for a while and I want to say it. Will still is a manager, and I don't believe that he would have had no input in the players that we brought in. So we spent a stupid amount of money on Finazaz. We spent a stupid amount of money on Tom Fellows, Caspiander. I think Caspiander's been a bit of a bright spark in the team. I do wonder whether Shea Charles being injured and Flynn Downs coming back in potentially could be a bit of a redemption arc for Flynn Downs, but that's just my opinion.
If he can stay well.
If he doesn't eat raw chicken. But he's brought these players in. Finazaz came in, 4 games, 4 starts, started to look bright-ish against Middlesbrough. Started to settle, dropped. Tom Fellows comes in, winger, top assist in the Championship last year, assist, got an assist against Middlesbrough. I know he was playing right, but played it right back, then turned on the bench. It is his job to get the best out of the players that he's brought in. And at the moment, when you looked at the game on Tuesday, Finazaz was on the bench, Tom Fellows was on the bench, Damien Downs on the bench. Now, I know Damien Downs isn't good enough, but you can't, he's literally just going, right, I'll take that player off and I'll throw that player in. We praised him on this show for making some of the big calls. He dropped Jack Stevens. He dropped Taylor Harwood-Bellis.
When he needed to.
He
did need to.
But he hasn't got the balls to make the big decision in a game. Beforehand, fine. He's not got the balls to make a big decision in a game. You are not going to do someone like Damien Downs any favours. And chat, don't panic. We're still going to get onto Sports Republic later because I haven't missed out the show notes. But I want to know from him. I don't want to hear all this, oh, well, they're still good guys and they're still integrated in the squad. I want to know what's going on. I'm not worried about Samadozi because he's too similar to a lot of the other wingers we've got. What's going on with Joe Revo? He was superb in the Championship a couple of years ago. If we're paying him, is there something going on?
He had moments of being good in the Premier League, Ash.
Matsuki cracks one in from 25 yards against Norwich. We don't see him again. Samadozi, to be fair, when he was in the Championship last time, before he got seriously injured, he had an end product. What we're doing right now is we're doing nothing to help Damien down because we're just throwing him on when the game's lost and just punting balls up to him, which he's not a big lad, so he's not going to win everything. We're then moving Adam Armstrong to up front, which doesn't make any point. We're then taking a young lad. How do you think that young lad feels? He sat there, wearing number 98 on his back, thinking to himself, I've scored goals for fun this year, I'll get on. And he don't get on. And at one point in time, we had 7 fucking defenders on the pitch and a goalkeeper. What? And we're having more possession. Teams know how to play us. I know how to play us. I'll drive up the Preston and deep down tomorrow, and I'll say to Paul Heckenbottom, look, mate, just put 10 men behind the ball and it's on the break.
But part of what you need in football, in real life, not on a computer game, is you need consistency to build partnerships and to build camaraderie and to build any kind of coherency. So I look at the squad that we've got, right? Injuries and illnesses aside, I look at the squad we've got. I'd be playing 5 in midfield instantly. I'd be playing Yander alongside Shea Charles. I'd be playing Finazaz in front of them. I'd be playing Cienza on one wing. I'd be playing Fellows on the other wing. And people go, but Armour, fuck him. I don't think he's good enough. Now, is he good enough in the Championship? Yeah. He'll get a goal if you create 5 chances. I don't want a player who'll get a goal if we create 5 chances. I want a player who'll get 4 goals if we create 5 chances. So I think he can do a job, but I don't think he's good enough. And so if we've got Cienza and Fellows, you said it yourself, right? Fellows, top assist last season, right? Top assist last season, is a proven strong winger in this league and scores goals, right? And then you've got Leo Cienza, who looks like a bit of a gem. Looks like we've got an absolute steal there. So as far as I'm concerned, you just don't make room for Armstrong. You don't. You have Yanda, you have Charles, you have Azaz, you have those two. Who sits in front of them? Well, that's a difficult decision right now. And honestly, I think I would be looking at this young lad and going, you know what, you're scoring goals for fun. Have it, mate. Go for it.
What harm
and then
do?
And then at the back, I think you play Edwards, Charles, probably Manning, and I'd play Gillette if he's fit. I still shit myself every time the ball goes in the box because I don't know, I wouldn't pick McCarthy or Bazunu. I'd rather put one of the stewards in goal. At this point, honestly, I'd think about legitimately emergency recalling fucking he's just sat on the bench anyway and saying, you know what, we'll pay the fucking wages. You can have your loan fee back. We need he's a leader as well, at least.
Look, it's just for me. Like I said, we will get on Sports Public in a minute. It's just bloody rotten, and we're going back to the same. And look, I get it. Adam Armstrong's got 4 goals, so I can understand to a degree why he's starting him. But we're going back to the same, and it's Ryan Fraser, and it's Adam Armstrong, and it's Jack Stevens. What on earth was he thinking? Bringing Jack Stevens on and putting him in midfield. He's never played in midfield. Ronnie Edwards has played in midfield for
I'll
QPR
tell you what,
last year.
as well.
Got man of the match for QPR last year.
Here's a concern for me, right? Jack Stevens is the leader. If he's the leader, we are fucked.
He was awful when he came on. He wasn't winning any challenges.
If he is the strongest personality that we've got, so much so that he's the club captain, we are fucked. Aren't we?
No, 100%. Yeah.
So think about characters we've had in that dressing room in the past, like your Romeos and people like that, right? Jack Stevens isn't at that level. He just isn't at that level, right? JWPs, right? I think at the moment, I'm not a fan of bringing players back and all this bring him home nonsense. I don't like that kind of talk. At the moment, if there's an option to bring JWP back to this club in January, we should do everything we possibly can to bring him back. Absolutely, without doubt, I think. And I don't like that kind of bring him back. I'm not a fan of that norm. I'm like, he's gone, let it go, right? Fine. But we need a personality, a character, a leader, someone with some bite and some fight. Because at the moment, I'm watching a piss poor performance versus Blackburn. So Blackburn Bristol for me feels like we took maybe 1 step forward with Swansea and we've now taken 3 steps back.
Yeah, 100%.
Because now it feels like over the course of the week we've just got worse. And I don't see, and part of the reason is we were constantly chopping and changing. He needs to pick an 11, pick a fucking formation, and stick to it. But like I said to you earlier, we don't seem to have any identity in our play. We talk about when we go to football matches, right? And when we talk with Dad and Ian and stuff like that, and Matty in the concourse, you talk about the team we're playing. They'll play a low block and they like to hit on the counter and they like to play a ball over the top, right? Or they'll play a high block and they'll press you hard and they'll whip balls in the box. Or right? Depending on who we're playing against. Saints, what's our identity? What do we like to do? How do we like to create chances? We don't have a set play.
This is it, and I agree with Dotsey's comment there. Obviously, I want to make it clear we're not blaming Jack Stevens for yesterday. Obviously, he was asked to play in a position that he should never have been asked to play in.
Correct.
100%, he should never have been able to play in that. And I that's the problem, isn't it? Is why is that comment now? When we look at that squad of players that we've got, and you're right, pick a formation. The problem is he's picked a formation that doesn't work. Ronnie Edwards, player of the year at QPR last year, got man of the match twice for playing in centre midfield, also played right back, also played centre back. Nathan Wood, solid centre back, solid championship centre back. Ryan Manning has played in the championship before. Maz Rorslev is Premier League right back. Ronnie Edwards can play right back. Taylor Harvey-Bellis can play right back. Jack Stevens, when we got promoted, played left back for a couple of games.
We've got a squad that should be fucking top of the league.
Oh, 100%.
And at the moment, I genuinely think we could do a better job.
I just don't understand where we're going with it. So, just to finish off the segment on the game yesterday, obviously, I'm not going to go into his excuses about taking Sienza off because I'm just past that now. And we've talked about Arabian Matsuki, Aribo and Matsuki, etc., etc. But we had chance of you don't know what you're doing. We had chance of you getting sacked in the morning. We also had chance at the end when the final whistle had gone, the players went to go forwards of you're not fit to wear the shirt. Do you know what? I get it. I get that.
They're not.
And Leo Cienza said sort of like, you need to stick with us. Do you know what? We're not in bad states. We'll still put 25,000 plus at St Mary's next year. but it's going to be edgy.
Next week.
Next week, crikey, maybe next year. What then turned was there was some different chanting in the game. And we suddenly had sack the board and Sports Republic get out of our club.
Which we heard in the Premier League season as well.
And we have not avoided this conversation. We've had this conversation and we've been at the point where we've been very, very careful what you wish for, etc. It was all very positive when Will Steele came in, very positive on transfer deadline day, very positive when we beat Wrexham. And there was a lot of...
So let's touch on the Cienza point first, right?
Yes.
So he did come over at the end of the game and he basically asked the club, stick with us, we need your support, we need you, stick with us. And I think I like the fact that he was prepared to come and face the fans. I think he probably realised he's the only person who would get away with going and facing the fans. I like the fact that he's a person who speaks his mind and he's fought with people on social media already since he joined. Like, honestly, I respect Leo for having that kind of passion. I think he needs to read the room a little bit. I think, and he came out and apologised on social media. If you saw it, he apologised on social media. I like that he did it, but I do think he needs to read the room. I don't think that was the right moment. And when you're the only player with any credit in that club at the moment, don't fuck it around. Don't piss it up the wall by being sick. Like, you cannot put in a performance like that as a group of players and ask the fans to stick with you. What are we sticking with? Again, at least under Russell, you saw what he was trying to do. You could see the identity he was trying to put into the team. You could see the type of football he was trying to play. You could see what he was trying to do, and we were just waiting for the click, and it did click. And okay, granted, we didn't defend great, and we did nearly fuck it up at the end, but it did click, and we had some great times in the Championship under Russell. I cannot, and I've been a pro Will Still person, right?
We both have, yeah.
I cannot see what our identity is. I have literally no idea what he's trying to do. And when we are not playing well, when it's level, or when we're losing, I don't see that he's got a game plan. I don't see that he's got a get out of jail card. I don't see him doing anything that inspires me that we're going to try and fight back. And so when we're 2-1 down at Blackburn, with 5 defenders on the pitch, 6 defenders on the pitch, still playing 5 at the back, still passing, I'm like, what is going on?
But it's the man management as well. Dotsey's made the point. I sat there just us playing Brighton and Moses Sesse had an absolute superb performance. Not seen him all yet.
I'm not pining for Russell. I don't want Russell back ever, Nick, quite frankly. I think that fucking buffoon, I thought he may, when I watched the interview they did with Gary Lineker post being sacked by the club, I thought that perhaps he'd learnt a lesson. He went to Rangers and proved to me that he hasn't learnt a lesson. He's actually just an arrogant, fucking egotistical dickhead. So I don't want him back ever. I warned you, by the way, it all wouldn't be PG tonight. I don't want him back ever in the club, and I don't want Tall Paul back because that's not the kind of football that I want to play. But I can't tell what we are trying to play, and some of what we're trying to play, we would need that kind of player. We don't have him anymore, so I just don't understand. And I look at Sesse, I look at Matsuki, I look at Aribo, I look at Edozie, nowhere near the squad, and I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah, but that happened with Jay Robinson. He put in 3 or 4 cracking performances and then just disappeared for 4 weeks.
Well, this is exactly what you said, right? Finazaz starts 4 games, starts to settle, starts to play some nice passes, gets dropped. Fellows plays 4 or 5 games, starts to settle, starts to look good, gets dropped. What is he doing?
So
it's almost like manager go. Saints is great. Saints is brilliant as a gig, right? You go in, you work for 3 months, you get sacked, 3 years pay, job's a good one.
This is a question that I'd add it, and we're gonna obviously Will Steele is obviously the one that's under clarity as well, but we know Dragon Solak is apparently quite passionate about Southampton Football Club, etc.
Well, let's talk about Sports Republic in general, right? Let's talk about the wider picture of Sports Republic. People talking about Russell Martin. When Sports Republic came into the club, Ralph Hasenhüttl was the manager, right?
And just very quickly on Ralph Hasenhüttl, the reason that he was in this crowd is he's a friend of one of the technical staff of Bristol City. He was invited.
So he was the manager. He got hounded out by some fans. He got sacked by the board. Yeah. Right? I think that's when it starts to go wrong. We lose Ralph Hasenhüttl. We sack him. We bring in Nathan Jones. We all know what we all think about Nathan Jones. That is a flat downgrade, right? Yeah. We get rid of Nathan Jones. We bring in Ruben Sellers, yet another downgrade. Okay, so not a great start to their tenure as owners of the club. We then get rid of Ruben Sellers. We bring in Russell Martin. Now, his championship season will be deemed a success despite the fact that I have reservations about our defensive capabilities and the fact that we didn't address that problem going into the Premier League, because we did hemorrhage a lot of goals in the Premier League. The words I think you used was we came fourth in a 2-horse race or something like that.
Fourth in a 3-horse race, yeah.
So we should have been first or second. We ended up coming fourth, but we did get up through via the playoffs. Okay, fine. We then get rid of him halfway through the Premier League season because it was woeful, to be fair. And then we bring in Ivan Juric. We get promised heavy metal football, never comes to fruition. Absolutely clueless bloke, goes shortly afterwards, basically like a scapegoat for getting relegated.
Yeah.
We then bring in, Simon Rusk as assistant manager, who seems to love the club. He's been with us for ages, does his best, at least gets us to that 12-point mark. And then at the end of the season gets relieved of his duties as we bring in Will Still, doesn't even retain a place in the club, which I think is a bit harsh, to be fair. But hey, that is. We bring in Will Still and we're promised high press, creative football, and we've not seen any of it. So far now, under Sports Republic, from Ralph, we've had 6 different managers. Yeah. Now, this is my favourite stat of all time, which I saw on social media, I think you did as well, which is the number of wins.
So since the playoff final, we have played 50 league games.
And won?
4.
And out of those managers that Sports Republic have hired, how many of them have won more than 2?
Just Russell Martin.
Just Russell Martin. How is that?
This is going to be the point that I was going to come across to, right? So I've listened to a few bits and pieces and people doing it now. Obviously, Dragon Solak will have an input into the manager side of things. Now, I think we were all excited when Will Still was appointed. But if you're Dragon Solak and you're looking at the signings that have been made this summer and your money's being pissed up the wall on players like Damien Downs and Finn Azaz and Tom Fellows and they're not being put into the first team, how long is it until you start? If I've spent the money on those players, I want to be asking, why have we spent money on those players if they're not in the first team?
So I think that it could be argued that money may have been pissed up the wall for Damien Downs, but I don't yet think he's been given enough of a chance to really prove what he can do. When he scored that goal in pre-season, we all went, he looks all right. And then he's not really been given any kind of solid chance since. In terms of Azaz and Fellows, I don't think he have pissed it up the wall because both of them, when they were starting to play regularly, were looking good.
My idea of pissing it up the wall is we paid it, and now they've played 4 games and they're not even barely playing. Tom Fellows has been in and out more than the fucking prize.
In their previous clubs were constant starters in the Championship.
Yes.
Right? So they're good players. That money's not been pissed. We've bought, in Finn Azaz, Tom Fellows, we have bought definitely proven solid Championship players. In Leo Cienza, it looks like we bought ourselves an absolute gem. In Casper Yander, I'd suggest the same, right? For me, the jury's out on Kwashi, but he's a young player and we need a lot of coaching and arm around him and look after him and help him make the right decisions. And Damien Downs, I know what people say. People have been comparing him to Ali Dia, etc. For me, there's a question mark on him. Yeah, he's young and I don't think he's been given anywhere near enough time. He's a USA international. There's a reason for that.
Yeah,
right. He can't be a terrible player if he's USA international. So the money. This is the first transfer window. That I've seen under Sports Republic where I've come away thinking that's a good transfer window on the whole. Big question marks over not sorting our goalkeeper situation and bigger question marks at not getting a more proven striker. Although what I will say in their defence, everyone goes out on social media and goes, we should have bought a striker. There's about 40 clubs in the UK trying to buy a striker.
There is, yeah.
And there's a lack of decent strikers, right? There's a lack of decent strikers. So it's not as easy as just go and buy a striker. Liverpool spent 150 million on Isak, who was brilliant for Newcastle and has so far looked shit in a Liverpool shirt. So even spending 100 million doesn't mean you get a good striker necessarily, right? It'll probably come good because he's Isak, but at the moment at least, he can't seem to get a partnership going with Ekitike at Liverpool. It's just not happening for him, right? Yep. So just go and buy a striker isn't actually a legitimately helpful comment to make for anybody because it's not the easiest thing to solve. So I think we've had the best transfer window we've had in a very long time, right? I still stand by that, which means why the fuck is the manager not getting a tune out of them?
Because he's not this is the problem, isn't it? He's not playing the formation that needs to be done. And you said about Ralph Hasenhüttl, him going was the catalyst of the problem. I think you could probably bring it all down to never replacing Danny Ings.
Absolutely, you could.
We never replaced Danny Ings. We were lucky to stay up the season after. Since then, we've just thrown money at stupid some strikers that we don't need.
Before, if you look at our last decade or so, we've beaten Inter Milan 2-1. We finished in our highest ever Premier League position in the last decade. And yet here we are in 20th place in the Championship. So, how many... By the way, chat, just quickly, I'm sure you probably all know anyway, the person who just commented, the Total Saints podcast, for me, at least, they were the inspiration for us, for Ash and I starting our own show. We've had the guys in the studio in the past, the wonderful humans. If you haven't already followed the Total Saints podcast, go follow them. They do their show at 7 p.m. till 8. They do an hour before us. They are brilliant humans. How many pennies have you lads had to put this swear jar tonight? Rounds on us at St Mary's on Saturday.
For everyone.
for probably all 30,000 people at this rate. It's been one of those.
On that note, let's boycott the game on Saturday. No, I'm joking.
There's social media about that already.
Oh, is there? Yeah. Okay, we'll get onto that in a minute.
There's social media.
No, look, I get what you're saying. I think the problem is the problems go deeper, and I haven't even. I think I've forgotten to put it in the show notes. Have I forgotten to put it in the show notes? Yes, I've forgotten to put it in the show notes. There's now talk of Johannes Spors going off to either Juventus or Borussia Mönchengladbach. I mean, if you're him,
there's no current solid link that I can see between Spors and Juventus. I think Alfie from the podcast was asked about this and had said that Johan Spors is open to talking to them, but it's up to it's a club decision.
But if you're in his position, I'd fucking run.
I think. Do you know what? The problem is, right. So I can see what you're saying here, but you have to. If he's being tapped up by Juventus, who's not? I'm going to be on his chat, right? Let's take the being a local boy from Southampton out of this. Who is saying no to Juventus from Southampton?
Of course they are. No one,
right? It's Juventus, for Christ's sake. That being said, I'm always conscious, and maybe this is just me, but I'm always conscious of how things look, right? So, as a sporting director, you get brought in for a club in crisis to turn things around. You realise that the ship isn't actually surfacing and is continuing to sort of sink, and then you jump ship. I don't know if you make yourself out to be a very competent or trustworthy individual. What you're saying is you're quite happy to take the job, and when the going's good, you're happy, and when the going's not good, you'll fuck off somewhere else. And I don't think that sells people in a good light necessarily. That being said, we live in a weird world of football where people typically seem to fail up all the time, and I don't like it. So Juric leaves us, goes and gets Champions League football in Italy. Russell Martin gets fired, goes and gets Champions League football up in Scotland. Granted, loses it for them straight away, but goes and gets Champions League football up in Scotland. People typically continue to fail up. I think Ruben Sellers has just been hired again in Spain.
Has he?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he has actually. Yeah, I saw that.
Right, so he's failed up. Ultimately. And if Johannes Spors comes to Southampton, spends 4 fucking months here in the league or whatever it is, and pisses off to Juventus, all right, do you know why I really want to work in football? Well, it's the only profession I can see, with the exception of army officers, where you can be a literal shithead and get promoted. I don't understand it. You can be the shittest at your job. And not only do you get a pay, like managers in football baffle me, Ash. I've never understood this. How you can sign a manager on a 3-year deal for X number of millions of quids. He can be the shittest manager you've ever had in your life. You sack Ange Postecoglou. Jesus Christ. 39 days, sacked. They've had to buy him out of his contract.
Yeah, I know.
If you're watching, anyone, I just want one Premier League manager's job. I'll do it for 39 days and get sacked and be called an arsehole by every single one of the fan base. Because you know what? I get 3-year payout.
I call you an arsehole every single day.
I don't get it, and I wonder sometimes, because what happens when these managers get sacked, right? Ange Postecoglou is maybe not the greatest example, because some would consider his tenure at Tottenham to be a success because he got them a trophy. I actually think it was a disaster. Personally, the trophy that he got them against Manchester United in the final was one of the worst games of football I've ever seen, and wasn't a great advert for UK-based football in general. And they didn't really have a difficult run to get there in the first instance. They also finished 17th in the Premier League. And if it wasn't for the 3 Championship sides coming up and absolutely shitting the bed last season, Tottenham might have actually been in a relegation fight, right? So I think he had a disastrous season. He then gets Nottingham Forest's job, who had a significantly better season than Tottenham, right? He gets that job. He does it for 39 days, gets sacked, and gets another payout. How?
So
What?
Moving on a little bit then, because we are at past 9 o'clock. Obviously,
Well, you said you didn't have to get up in the
I
morning.
don't have to get up in the morning. To be fair, I'm perfectly fine. But I wanted to go on to these points. So there's 2 questions to ask right now.
Okay,
There's 3 questions to ask.
Hit me with the first one.
Will Still stay or go?
Right now, my concern with getting rid of him right now is that who comes in?
That's the second question. So I'm going to put this to chat as well. Guys, you're all in there. We can see you're busy, etc. We love it. Will Still stay or go? Now, take away the anger from yesterday. Think logically, will Still stay or go?
Pre this last week, I was 100%, literally 100%, keep hold of him. We could come good. I'm now, we're literally 25% away for the season, right? Ish. What is it? 23 other teams, so 46 games.
Yeah.
We played 12. So we're literally 25% away for the season.
Yeah.
Right? We've played 25% of the season-ish, right? And I'm at this point going, what's our identity? What's our style? Who's our starting lineup? Who's our leaders? So...
And just very quickly, sorry, those who potentially might want him gone, who do you bring in?
So I was, after Swansea, I felt more positive, despite the fact that, and I didn't like that I've run over a cat, but I was more positive. Now I am shaky, I think, is probably the answer, because I'm struggling to see where his... I don't know what his positives are. Okay, let me flip the question slightly, okay? What's his positives? What's Will Still's positives? What has he done so far this season, a quarter of the way through the season, that's made you gone, I like Will?
Well, I can't answer that.
Right. This is my issue. So,
no. Actually, no. I think I've done him a bit of a disservice there. Sorry, I've just seen we've got a few goes. We've got a fair few stays. There's 100 people in the chat group. Guys, come and don't forget to hit that like button for us, please.
It's free. It's free. Liking it's free.
It is free and it helps us. Please just click that like button.
Scrub the Deck says we've been very unlucky the last few games. I disagree.
I would agree before Blackburn.
No, I disagree in general. I disagree in general. I don't think we've been unlucky. We've been incompetent. I look at Swansea, right? 21 shots on goal, didn't score a goal. It's incompetence, right? It's people that aren't good enough to put the ball away. Some of those shots,
I think Will Still has done. Thing is, I can go so many ways with this.
I go on to the Bristol City game, considering those 3 stupid goals was incompetence.
He has got a very hard job. What I can genuinely see right now, though, is most people turning around and saying, keep him, because what other choice do we have?
Well, I'm quite right. And I sit in this position where...
Sorry, let me throw another question at you whilst you're saying that then. And I'm just going to throw this out there. Because
I'd rather have a Snickers than a Mars bar.
I mean, everyone would rather have a Snickers than a Mars bar, right? But it's got to be a Snickers duo because they taste better than just a normal Snickers on their own.
They do, actually, yeah.
100% they are much better.
Go on, what's the other question?
This is the place for all your latest Saints news.
What's the other question?
We don't beat Preston on Saturday.
I don't see how we do right now. Carry on.
So we don't beat them. And Will's still in charge. Does he go then?
I think if the board are going to make a decision, they'll wait till the next international break. At the very earliest, I think they'll wait till the next international break. We have, I think, seen, in my own personal opinion, with Russell Martin and with Ivan Juric, a reluctance to go. So at the moment, I think the board are concerned about establishing a reputation at being manager sack happy. And we have, look at the 6 we've had and the short tenure in which most of them have had at the club. And I think they're concerned about that reputation, which is why I think Russell Martin probably got kept on for a little bit longer than he should have done. Juric was clearly not working very early on. But I think at the earliest is international break. If not at international break, it's Christmas, isn't it? Which is there or about the same time anyway.
I agree with what Ian says.
Looks to have his depth.
I think at the moment he started off and you sort of tried to get an idea of what he was trying to change. But I think he's beginning to get to the point where he looks out of his depth.
See, Scrub the Deck says he'd rather have a Mars bar because he's got a peanut allergy.
Don't come up with excuses, all right? It's just not acceptable. Nick is all the way. All right.
So honestly, I think... So I look at the last 3 games, draw, loss, and I feel sorry for Will on the Swansea game. I said this on the show last week, and the reason why I felt sorry for him was 21 shots on goal, no goal scored, what can he do at that point? He can't walk on the pitch and put the ball in the net for them. Like, in that point, you could argue, to some extent, his tactics have worked. We've dominated the game in terms of shots on goal. We've dominated the game in terms of shots on target. We should have put more balls in the back of the net. That is a player competence problem. You can also argue, looking at the Bristol City goals we conceded, that that's a player competence problem. The problem I have is, in both of these scenarios, is when it's not working, when we're not scoring goals, or when we're conceding stupid goals, he doesn't have I've said it so many times, he doesn't have any in-game management. He doesn't do anything that makes me think, manager's got this.
It's not that. I don't understand. I've never watched a team, apart from us, obviously, that play a 5 at the back and you're then chasing the game and you need a goal, and then you just piss ass down passing the ball at the back. I've never seen that. I've never seen that in my life. I've played Football Manager before. You've played Football Manager before. You put fucking 5 players up front and put the arrows going forward. That's how long it's been since I played Football Manager. Put the arrows going forward and throw everyone forward and you play right long ball, stuff like that. Whatever. But we started off doing that. Against Wrexham we did it. Against Stoke we did it. We're battering teams.
But we get to a point now where
battering the boxes. Not
like I look at Blackburn 2-1 down. I look at Bristol City when we're losing, and we're not doing anything different. Nothing's changing. We're losing. When teams go down against us, they start hammering us. They'll start playing. And what I don't understand is, as you've already alluded to, clubs are working out how to beat us quite early on in the game, then changing their tactics, and we don't have any way of responding. He seems to have default play this way. Oh, they figured it out. I'm now stuck. I now don't know what to do. And I think out of his depth is unfortunately the right words. I think English football has shocked him a little bit.
So, some of the bookies released odds. Will Steele is currently the second favourite manager to be sacked in the Championship behind Liam Manning,
Norwich City,
who has had an absolute shocker at Norwich City. Who do you think the favourite is for the job?
For Saints?
Yeah.
Ralph Hasenhüttl.
Yeah. And I wonder if it's because he was in the crowd on Tuesday night. I don't think he'd be the right person to come back in. I also don't think we need to be having that conversation yet, because I don't think there's much point in having that conversation until if Will Steele is relieved of his position. I think that there's a lot of people that have been asking us to talk about Sports Republic tonight, and I don't want to be here too late because I am conscious that you want to be up early.
It's fine.
And we've said it before, and we got a bit excited with Johan's board, and we said this is going to be do or die. Someone needs to come out and front up and grow some fucking balls and come out and say, right, guys, it's not going to plan this year.
Well, it's not. And my other concern is, because I know there's people in the chat that are Will still out, and there's people in WhatsApp conversations and Twitter feeds and all sorts of Will still out. My issue is, as always, who comes in to this shit show right now and sorts it out? A Sean Dyche has just got a job. Like, that's the kind of bloke you want.
Oh, that's the guy I would have wanted before we appointed Will Steele.
And I don't like his football, but to settle the ship, that's the kind of guy you want, right? So, is Ralph that individual? Can he do that? Can he settle that ship? Can he make us difficult to beat?
Look, if we sacked Will next weekend and they brought Ralph Hasenhüttl back to the end of the season, he'd give us an identity. I think the players would they play for him? Yes. The squad is just still full of so much deadwood, to my opinion. I look at it at the end of the season, and actually you'll find this interesting, but my nipper was talking to me when I was walking the dog with him the other day, and he was like, we've got so many players out of contract at the end of the season. Ryan Fraser's out of contract, Ross Stewart's out of contract, just let them go.
So Dazza, sorry Jack, YouTube's just showing us the @names rather than your actual name, so I don't know what your normal name is. It will just show us your current user handle. Dazza says kept till the end of the season and see how it goes, or get Carrick in. So, and then this is what I was going to talk about a minute ago, and for some reason I fucked off on a different tangent. I normally speaking would agree, right? And if we were languishing around 12th to 15th at the moment, and I'm aware that the difference is not that big from where we are now. If we were languishing mid-table and there's a possibility for a surge into the playoffs, I would absolutely 100% at this particular point in time be saying keep until the end of the season. We're in 20th place. It's not good enough. And at the moment, I came into the season going, that'll be a difficult game, that should be a win. That'll be a difficult game, that should be a win, that should be a win, that should be a win, that'll be a difficult game. And now I'm looking at them and going, difficult. Because I don't see how we beat teams.
We can't kill them. When are we ever going to kill a game off?
Well, yeah.
We should be having some games in this league at least where we are winning. We are 2-0 up with 20 minutes to go and almost cruising with the players that we've got. We can't do that.
I'm concerned. I'm very concerned. And I'm hoping the show at least puts across that we're quite passionate here. And I am really pissed off. And I said in the off-season period that I'd have taken, before Will Steele, actually not the off-season period, I said I'd have taken Frank Lampard at the time. Look what he's doing with Coventry. You know, Will, I think, was another gamble. It was another Sport Republic gamble. I wonder if it's a gamble because it costs less money.
There's people out there that Gartsy's just said it. He's maybe spoke to saying, "Oh, we won't go down. We've done it before. It can happen again." And if we don't sort our shit out quickly, we've got Preston at home and then we've got Sheffield Wednesday at home. And for me, you need 6 points.
What would it take? So are you on the Sport Republic out current bandwagon?
I am now, yeah.
Okay.
They've overseen, we've gone from being a respectable Premier League team, they've taken us down, they've taken us back up, they've then made us a laughing stock, and we're now almost an all-time low. Because I had this conversation with our dad today. When we got relegated from the Championship before, we had a team of youngsters. We know we had no money. We had a team of youngsters, and they fought and they gave a go. This is an all-time low. There's nothing.
You're not even giving it a go. Yeah,
they're not even giving it a go. And the players.
You're talking about your McGoldricks and your
Simon Gillets and
Sermons and
Josh Mills, Joseph Mills and Lloyd James and all those players. And I don't see what, in that season. I remember going to Queen's Park Rangers away, and I think Ollie Lancashire got sent off after about 22 minutes, and we lost 4-1 on the day, but they still fought and they fought hard. And these lot, it's the managers making stupid decisions. The players aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. We haven't heard from Johan Spors.
Do you think they've got a footballing decision right so far?
You can't argue with that, because you would say the footballing decision to put Russell Martin in charge of the Championship was the right decision because we got promoted. So you would say that is the right decision. On the whole, have they got met? No, I don't. On the whole of it, we've gone backwards.
But with the squad that Russell Martin had and the players that he had, should he not have got promoted automatically?
Yes, but it's that adage of they still got promoted, so it's fine.
Right, granted, but would you argue that potentially he underperformed overall?
Yes, I would. But they have overseen this, and we are not getting enough people coming out and going, right, guys, this is what the plan is. We're really sorry about this, or anything. Just any sort of communication. Because all we get is the videos of Dragon Solak dancing around when fucking Jack Stevens scores the last minute goal against Wrexham. I ain't seen it since.
Yeah, well, this is my concern. So some of what they've done non-football based, I think, is positive on the whole.
But that is positive, but no one gives a shit about that. Right, the results aren't right.
And this is my point. So opening up level 1 is a good move. The fan zones are good moves. These are all good moves because it improves the potential sustainability of the club. However, the Dell Pub, right? However, and this is what I had a conversation with someone about this the other day. They're all great moves. They are all the right moves for a football business nowadays, right? I'm not questioning that. But what people can't seem to get their heads around, who are defending them with these kinds of arguments, is it is fundamentally irrelevant if your fans aren't going. If your fans are disconnected to the club, or your numbers are down because you're playing terrible football and losing week in, week out, well, they're not going to level 1. They're not going to the fan zones. They're not going to the Dell Pub.
No.
So no matter what you do, no matter the level of business you bring in outside of football, it is intrinsically linked to the results of the team.
Yeah.
And they can't seem to get their heads around that. And I think that at the moment, I mean, my jury is out on Will at the moment. I'm losing faith slowly. But I don't see a positive move they've made. I would argue that Spurs, to start with, seem like a positive move, and I still think the transfer window is a good window. And that's what concerns me more about Will Steele, like I've said already. Right, the players are good players. The manager can't get a tune out of them. That would arguably be the manager's choice. I also don't like teams. I also don't like teams who constantly chop and change managers. Right, and I don't like managers being scapegoats. Managers are constantly scapegoats, and the players aren't performing. I think the players do need to take a look at themselves. And when Mads Roystev comes out in the press and says we need to take responsibility, you do, but actually do it, because it's all right saying that. You've got to mean it. I've got kids, right? You teach the kids, you can say sorry, but you need to mean it, and you need to know why you're saying sorry. And it's all well and good coming out in press and giving it this whole, oh, we're sorry, and it wasn't good enough, and we need to take some ownership, and we need to step up. Until you actually do that kind of stuff, it's pointless keep saying it. All you're going to do is lose the fans even further. And at the moment, I think that I am more towards SR out than I am in at the moment. But again, you have to look at you have to look at poor Sheffield Wednesday, right? So Sheffield Wednesday, if you are unaware, this is in the show notes. Sheffield Wednesday, if you're unaware, have gone into administration. Sounds terrible, but I want to wish them congratulations. That sounds like a really weird thing to say, right? But the fans at Sheffield Wednesday had enough of their ownership. Chinsari, is that how you say it? Chansiri, thank you. They'd had enough of his leadership. They'd had enough of his tenure at the club, and they have boycotted that club, right? Ultimately.
Yes.
So much so that yesterday, Sheffield Wednesday had to put an announcement out that said, we weren't expecting this many people coming back to the club, so we haven't got enough staff, so please be patient with us. Because they went straight back up to 25,000 people on the ground. Because what they've done is they forced the club into administration, and they basically have forced the leadership out. Did you see the video they put up?
Oh, it was brilliant on the
Beautiful.
Screen. Yeah, it was fantastic.
Very well done. And I'm pleased for Sheffield Wednesday because they've kind of taken their club back. The thing is, when you have a change of ownership, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to get better, does it?
No.
So I am currently looking at Sport Republic's tenure, and I'm currently looking at it and thinking to myself, on the whole, it's been an unmitigated fucking disaster. 6 managers, we've had 40 wins and 80 losses under Sports Republic, and a number of draws. Right?
Yeah.
We're down at 20th in the Championship. We've had 2 relegations, 1 promotion. The promotion was arguably by the skin of our teeth.
Yeah.
Right? We weren't that convincing against Leeds United. By the skin of our teeth, right? Not only have we had 2 relegations, 1 promotion, we've also had almost record-breaking Premier League season and a bit of a flat embarrassment. We've had player in and out, which is just disgusting from top to bottom. We've lost great players on frees. We've lost other players. We've brought in shite that hasn't quite ever stepped up. Ash is right when he says we never replaced Danny Ings. We never replaced a prolific goal scorer. We never did that, So I look at that overall tenure,
We also
and I
didn't
think
get pin badges.
I look at the overall tenure, and I think actually, for the most part, we're in a much worse place. You have to look at the owners. Like I said to you, right before them, 2-1 wins at Inter Milan in the Europa Cup.
Yeah.
Highest ever finishes in the Premier League, challenging near the top for Christ's sake, and now we're 20th in the Championship. So I am more SR out than in, but we need to make sure. I say we've got no control over it. I'm very nervous about who comes in and takes over nowadays, because it's not always better.
It's not always better, but at the moment, I'll be honest, and I get the off-field things, but I'm just going to talk about the on-field things for the moment. It can't get much fucking worse. No, it can get a lot fucking worse.
It can get a lot worse.
That's the problem. It can get worse. And at the moment, I don't see it getting any better, because Will still has to take the same squad of players, and unless he takes a serious look at, I've said this on one of the things when I announced the show tonight, the people that need to take a serious look at themselves, he will sit at home and analyse the game until he realises that, well, it's really hard to score goals, so try and score more goals, I'll play more defenders.
Yeah.
That's like me trying to piss my wife off even loads to try and get lucky tonight. Like, it's just stupid decision.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. And at one point yesterday, we had 7 defenders on the pitch, plus McCarthy, plus Ryan Fraser, who's been playing in defence. So you could argue 8 defenders and Adam Armstrong and Jay Robinson. And I looked at that and I was like, well, no wonder we're not scoring the second goal, because none of them are going to do it, are they?
Yeah.
Absolute shit show, and that's what Sports Republic have caused at the moment. And they've caused a shit show, and again, no one to front up, no one to the side. No, what, we'll do this, we'll do that, and it's going to be silent all week. Will still go in front of the press on Thursday, and he'll go, like he said yesterday, oh no, I understand the fans' frustration, I get it. They want to do well. We need to do well. We need to sort our mentality out. Okay, change it then.
I put an email into the club to see if I could get in the press conference on Thursday.
To take the piss off.
I've had no response.
Oh, okay.
I was like, well, I mean, at this rate, we'll be a League 2 club soon, so I might be able to get in there. But
I mean, what's the worst that can happen? You go in there. I mean, like I said, he's trying to do the same at the moment. And my worry is, and I'm pretty much guarantee it if I was a better man, we're going to rock up on Saturday. We're going to walk at the stadium at 1:45. We're going to get the line-up, and it's going to be Taylor Harwood-Bellis, Ronnie Edwards, Nathan Wood, Ross Lev, Manning, McCarthy. It'll probably be Casper Yander, Flynn Downs, Cienza, Archer, Armour, and we'll be like, oh, okay, brilliant. It's the same shit again.
I really want to get in front of them. I really want to be in the press rooms now. I don't know if we'll ever get there, but I want to now, because I want to start asking some difficult questions as well. But hey, Next week we have, this Saturday coming. So yeah, next week I guess essentially we are at home to Preston.
To Preston North End.
Which at the start of the season you'd have told me that, I'd be like banging 3 points. How does Preston play? You watch more football than I do.
So I watched Preston on Friday night actually, whilst also watching. I was split screening on my TV. I love split screening on my TV. Whilst also watching West Ham. Matty Fernandez get his first goal for West Ham on Friday night.
In a loss. Matty Fernandez, who left Southampton because he was sick of losing.
Yeah, that's going well, isn't it? I did hear someone say today that he didn't think West Ham were going to get relegated. I watched the first half and Preston were 2-0 down at home to Sheffield United. They're 2-1 down at half time, but basically 2-0 down. And they won 3-2, so they know how to score goals. 2 men up front, 5 across the back, 3 men in the midfield. They're a championship team at the moment. They are 7th, I think, at the moment. Yep, 7th, just behind Charlton and just ahead of Hull. Games that we again would have thought was winning. Paul Heckenbottom's got them playing well. They've got some solid championship players in their team. Alfie Devine and Dobbin and Gibson. Everson's a good keeper. They're just a championship team. They've got ex-Saint Thierry Small. They've got Osmanic, who's been charged about 3 times for bloody racism. And he also bit a player last year. He's trying to channel his inner Luis Suarez. Look, I can't see us beating them at the moment. I can't see where it's coming from. And that's what worries me. Because they are going to do exactly, and I watched it last night. Could they do it? Yes, they could. They're going to do exactly what teams have done. They're going to put 5 across the back. They're going to play over low block. They're going to say, break us down. We're not going to be able to. They're going to hit us on the break. And the one thing we love about doing this show, and we make it clear most nights and most times, is we've got the Discord server. If you're not involved, you can get involved in it. Is everyone's entitled to an opinion. So we don't believe in you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. Everyone's entitled to opinion. You can argue opinions. That's what's great about football. Everyone has their own opinion. But I don't know what Saints fan can sit there going, oh yeah, we're going to beat Preston 3-1. I can't see that. I'm the most negative person ever sometimes with football results. And it tells, because on the TSP Predictor League, I'm 6th. Coming for the top spot. I'm 6th. And I just, predicting the results that we're doing is easy because it's just so obvious now.
For this next game, I'm not going to give a prediction.
I don't see. I didn't do
purely because I
polls.
refuse to ever predict we lose. I don't like doing that. I don't like doing it. But I also can't predict we're going to win.
But it will go 2 ways. We know what will happen. It will go 2 ways. We'll either get a goal up and crumble, or we'll concede and then make changes too late. And this is the problem. Is that and Jimmy Cheese is in the chat. Someone else, people to go and follow and subscribe to if they want to watch Match Day vlogs. He has said it as well. The fan base is divided at the moment, and that's okay. Like we said, people can have their opinions, but we're not sat here talking about we lost that game because we're a bit unlucky, or we haven't talked about the referee in weeks because we've been that poor. We haven't talked about the referee in weeks, and it's awful. And we've got there's other things, and we've not really talked about the other football things. Obviously, we've gone through it now, but there's other things that we could have talked about tonight that were involved in the world of football, which we haven't done. Because we're too busy focusing on this absolute shower of shit.
I'm honestly enraged. I'm calmer now than I was yesterday, but I was enraged yesterday.
I'm aware of how not calm you were yesterday.
I was so angry.
You were. I won't show you the messages, chat. But
I was so angry yesterday with watching that game. That is a game that we should have gone there. We should have taken that opportunity. We should have put that game to bed. Got ourselves 3 points on the board, climbed the league table a little bit, got a little bit of confidence. And the second I saw the lineup, I was like, we're fucked. And we just weren't great all the way through. So,
What we're saying, chat, Preston at home.
Let us know.
If you watch on demand, slap it in the comments underneath.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a great time right now. Hey, do you know what? Here's the other thing as well, and I'll say this out loud. I have a desire right now for the black away shirt because I really like it. And currently, I'm refusing to buy it. And it's not much, right? Me not spending 65 quid on a black shirt is nothing, really, in the grand scheme of things. But the only thing that is going to look at Sheffield Wednesday, the only thing that is going to make Sports Republic stand up and take notice is if they stop seeing money coming in the door. So what I have seen on social media tonight, and I'm not saying I agree with this or not, But what I have seen is people starting to talk about boycotts. And I've seen people starting to talk about don't buy any food and drink from the stadium. Don't buy anything from the fan zones. Don't buy anything from the club shop. Get your food and drink before you get to the ground. I've also seen it go as extreme as don't sit in your seat until after the first 10 minutes. Don't do this. Only use black smoke, etc. to show the death of the club, right?
Only wipe using your left hand.
I've seen all this stuff. And although I don't agree with the black smoke and I don't agree with the first 10 minutes and etc., they're not entirely wrong, right? They're not entirely wrong. The only way you're ever going to impact people like Sports Republic is by hitting them in their wallets. And it's the same with any company in the world. If you don't agree with Apple's product processes, don't buy iPhones. If you don't agree with Jag Land Rovers processes, don't buy Jaguars or Land Rovers, right? Ultimately, if you don't buy the product, the company has to take notice or they go bust. It's as simple as that.
But we've already seen it. We started at home against Wrexham, 30,000. Played Stoke, 30,000. Played Swansea, 28,000. And I know some of that was the Swansea fans, but it's dropping. And it's going to keep dropping.
No, Nick, to be fair, Nick, as much as I am glad you look like you're wrestling your club back, I don't want to be Wednesday. I don't want to be bottom of the table with minus 6 points, having gone into administration because we're bankrupt. I don't want to be there. I don't. But I also don't want fucking arseholes in charge of my club. So, hey. Right, before we go, we'll say thank you to some of the fan funding stuff that has come through. Big shout out to Cam Ward, who became a member before the show even started. So he's got himself in Discord server in the members section. That means he's finally sorted his card out in Cyprus land. So thank you, Cameron. You're an absolute hero. What a legend. The best way to support us, chat, like I said already, is by becoming a member of the channel. If you click the little $sign button, join, you can become an Academy member, which is $4.99. It's the best way to support us. We currently run this at a loss. I dread to think the money I've spent on getting this podcast up and running, the Matt Letitia interview and all that kind of stuff so far.
And I just look pretty.
We haven't made that money back yet, so it would be great if you could become members or whatever, or you can do what the other people have done. So thank you, Sam. Thank you, Star Pilot, for the $2. I don't understand the sport. Should I take over at this rate? Yeah, why not? I'm not sure you could do much worse. No, you probably will. You're American. You'll probably try and pick it up.
We love you anyway, Sam.
Jimmy Cheese, thank you for the $5. Show me the messages. No, we're not showing them.
I mean, I can read some of them out. I mean, the one that always got to me when you went shit subs by a manager who Sports Republic appointed. Players were fucking woeful. No commitment, no fucking effort, no fight. I'm not going to read the rest of that message purely and simply because I don't want to leave the complete PG part. Because you started off quite calm, and this was I'll just check the time. This was at literally full time. Honestly, mate, it started okay, not great, but okay. We scored, and then it just got shitter. And then I'm going to stop because then you start really getting really rude. So I'm not going to read those ones out.
I was pretty upset yesterday.
There are things that will probably get us imprisoned.
And then thank you, Garsty, for the $5. Dramatic reading of said messages. That wasn't dramatic, obviously, but I think as Saints fans, we're all in the same boat. Ultimately, the one thing I will say is, and this is quite important for me, and I've seen this in WhatsApp chats. I've seen this on social media. I've seen it on Twitter and on Facebook and what have you. At the very least, I think for the most part, as fans, we have to try and stick together a little bit.
Yes.
It is collectively shit.
Just because someone has a different opinion doesn't mean
I don't believe in happy clapping and just being like, yay, football, because it's embarrassing at the moment and it is shit. People will have different opinions. I think it's important that we have those discussions, but I've seen some fans heavily falling out with each other. I get it. We're passionate. We're upset. We're pissed off, but we need to stick together. So at least try that. And ultimately against Preston, to start with, I will be in the stand singing my little heart out. To start with, in the hope that maybe, just maybe, something clicks on Saturday. I'm not holding much hope, but in the hope that happens.
Something needs to click.
Well, we'll see. All right, we'll see. Thank you so much for watching the show, chat. You've been amazing. We've got 116 people still watching right now. We're on 37 of the finest likes. If you have enjoyed the show, maybe think about smashing that like button before you disappear. It's free, it costs you nothing, and it helps our algorithm, which means that when the show finishes, it's possible that this show gets pushed out to more people who are Saints fans. Maybe more people become subs, more people come and find us, so we continue to grow the channel. If we can continue to grow the channel, we can continue to grow the ad revenue and maybe the membership revenue, and then we can eventually grow into something bigger, have a separate studio just for the podcast. etc., etc. Bring more people in for interviews. It's what
Yeah.
I'd like to do ultimately. I am not currently interested in making money off of this. I'm interested in bringing you better shows, improved shows, more guests, that kind of stuff, right? So thank you so much. Like I said, liking it is completely free. We will be back next Sunday at 8 p.m. with another show post the Preston game. Hopefully it'll be a bit cheerer.
Doubt it.
I currently doubt it, but hopefully it will be a bit cheerer. If you're in the Discord server, feel free to get engaged over the next week. And then obviously on match day, I think you're normally pretty active in there as well on match day. I think that covers most of it so far. Anything you want to add before I disappear?
I'm just tired.
Yeah, I'm not even going to ask you to do it.
I'm not going to do it tonight. I'm not in the mood.
I don't think they deserve it.
I just can't do it. And the thing is that the championship was all over the place this weekend because everyone beat everyone apart from Coventry winning. I'm just tired of it all.
Yeah, well,
All I'm going to finish with is just to reiterate, fair play to Sheffield Wednesday fans.
Yeah.
Good on you. Victory for football.
thank you so much, you wonderful humans, for watching. If you've got other Saints fans who you think might be interested in the show, I'd love it if you could share it with them. That's it. I'm not going to ask him to shout it. I'm not.
Up the Saints.
I'll say it. Yeah.
Up the Saints.
Up the Saints. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.